Howdy, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of DNW Reviews. I'm your host, Anthony, coming to you once again from the heart of Beirut in Jaitewe. And I have a special guest for today. We're going to be reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. We got Danny. Danny, how's it going?
As you see, I'm here hanging out, serial killer chic,
And your layer
in-
of sexual harassment.
no. I either have very bad lighting, like the generic yellow lighting, or I have this cool, I'm going to stab somebody red lighting. So I chose to match you.
I have a very, very bright ring light. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Danny was on the Hayoka channel. He's the co-host of Movie Court. He used to be my co-host on Geek Authority for a bunch, so he and I have a long history of talking about comic books and comic book movies together. Danny,
Yes,
before we get into any of this, I think we need to, sorry, let me just go full screen here. I think we have to show the people that you are a legit DC nerd and fan. Just quickly flash your Batman tattoo.
There you go. There you go.
Let me show you guys a few of my...
This is us trying to
us. These are my vintage Batman comics that I collect and that I also sell. We love comic books. All right, before we get into this, no one question our love of comics or our love of DC. Danny is the big...
this is like insurance. This is insurance. Snyder cut aficionados.
The Snyder cult. So Danny is the biggest Batman fan that I know. He's the biggest DC fan that I know. Batman is like legit my second favorite character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a retired geek. I've been in the game for a long time, but a
lot of these younger kids don't know Danny. They don't know. So
thank you for giving me some geek cred so I can speak about this wonderful film we've watched together.
Before we jump into the review of the movie, I wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit of, I guess, a background. So Danny, what do you think of like Zack Snyder's DC movies in general? So because how we feel about Justice League is very much based on how we feel about Man of Steel and how we feel about Batman versus Superman. So in general, how do you feel about those two movies? Are you a fan of Zack Snyder's DC universe and his vision for
Honestly, to keep it very short, I am one of the few fans of Man of Steel. I still like Man of Steel. I still think it's a solid movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly when I watched it back in the day. I mean, some choices were weird, mainly about like Kevin Costner's death. Like, I think because Zack Snyder tries to play up everything to 100 in every scene and make it very dramatic, some things come off kind of comical, like the whole, if you don't know, Papa Kent dies saving the family dog and
in the tornado.
And he wants to somehow make it a big sacrifice, and it comes off as a weird one. Other than that, I loved everything about the movie. I didn't mind the darker tone that they came with, because to me, DC always had the darker gothic tone versus Marvel's kind of colorful, playful tone. So I never minded that. BVS did not enjoy. I mean, years later, went back and forth. Huge Batman fan. I wanted to see the whole Batman Returns, older Batman. I really like Batfleck. I think Ben Affleck is a great Batman, but overall the movie was messy as we can cuss, right? You want me?
Yeah. Go for it.
It was messy as fuck. It was super messy, confusing, mixed up, and we still get the same Zack Snyder shit with the whole Martha thing, with the very infamous Martha thing. I think it goes back to Zack Snyder wanting to play up every moment as like the most important dramatic moment. So the Martha thing kind of fucked it up for me. After that, what do we have? I mean, do we blame him for Suicide Squad? It's not on him.
No. So the rest, just based on his movie. So, and you, because of like how much you dislike Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, you didn't even watch Joss Whedon's Justice League.
I have not. So to be very clear, Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League is the only Justice League I've seen.
Yeah.
And so I was not making any comparison to this Joss Whedon cut. It was the only Justice League I've seen. So
that's going to be an important distinction between my perspective of the film and Danny's. I've seen the Joss Whedon theatrical cut, so I can compare it directly to that. Danny has not. So his only exposure to the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is going to be the Zack Snyder cut. So in terms of quickly how I feel about the Snyder like DC movies, I was disappointed in Man of Steel. in time I've grown to like it more because of how shitty Batman versus Superman was and like the other DC movies were. But I was a little bit disappointed in Man of Steel, but I still enjoyed it. Batman versus Superman, like you, I didn't enjoy. I tried to like it. I even saw the extended cut. It's a little bit better, but I still am not a fan of that movie. I get what Zack was going for, but it's too bloated. There's way too much going on. Like, we needed a Man of Steel 2. Batman needed his own movie. All of that shit. We've talked about it ad nauseum.
Right.
So both of us going into the Snyder cut, we're not necessarily the biggest fans of Snyder's vision. Although I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder as a filmmaker. I love Watchmen. I love 300. You do as well.
Yes, I both Watchmen and 300, big fan of both. I think they're solid ass movies. Dawn of the Dead even is a good
Dawn
movie.
of the Dead, Legends of the Guardian, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. I've seen that movie in fucking theaters. So most of you Zack Snyder fans have never even seen that movie. I saw it in fucking theaters. So now that we have that out of the way, Danny, I'd love for you to give me we can give, I think, our like quick overall thoughts of the movie, of the Zack Snyder cut, and then we can break down what we liked, what we didn't like. So what are your thoughts generally of the Zack Snyder cut?
I'm going to be fair. Going into this movie, it was hard to take away the whole DCEU clusterfuck. It was hard watching it as a pure fan, and a lot of the things were playing in the back of my mind. You know, Batman v Superman, all the shit with the whole like reshoots, how it was dark, and it like, although I have not seen the Joss Whedon cut, I felt it was haunting. It was like just hovering above the movie. After watching it, I think it's a decent movie. I think it's better than Batman v Superman, definitely. I just think it just falls to the same Zack Snyder stuff, which is it's super bloated. It's super like the things that were extended, I don't think are better because I watched today like a comparison between the Joss Whedon one and Haida. I do think it's a more cohesive movie than all the other movies, but I still think it's bloated. I think it's too self-important. Some things don't work, some things work. Overall, I think it's a decent movie. I think it's one of the better DC movies now that it's all put togetger. But again, like, I don't want. Do we go into details? I think it's just
we're gonna go into them in a bit. Yeah.
It's an average movie. I don't think walking out of it, I was like, wow, I loved every second. People who are saying loved every second, bullshit. It's 4 hours, 2 minutes. Yeah. You cannot love. Like, it's just weird things. Like Aquaman doesn't take himself seriously, but there's a weird Icelandic lady sniffing and treating him like a god. He does not treat himself like a god. Like, why are you?
Some small inconsistency. And before you keep going, I think just in case someone doesn't know what happened, basically, Zack Snyder was working and directing Justice League. It was supposed to be one of two parts. After he was done basically with most of the principal photography, he basically ended up leaving the project because his daughter committed suicide. Now, according to a lot of reports, Warner Brothers wanted to get rid of Zack Snyder anyways, so they kind of used his daughter's and his family tragedy as an excuse to kind of gently push him out. They then bring in Joss Whedon to basically hack the movie into parts because Zack had recorded like 4 hours of movie. They had a mandate that they needed to have it under 2 hours. So Joss Whedon comes in, the director of the Avengers, and tries to salvage this movie by making a 2-hour cut.
Because that's how movies work. You Frankenstein them into reality.
Yeah,
that's how you need to do a movie.
And when I saw the theatrical cut, the way you kind of said that the behind the scenes was clouding your judgment of the Zack Snyder cut, that was the same way for me watching the Joss Whedon theatrical cut. It didn't even feel like a real movie. Like, you can see the reshoots. It just felt like a clusterfuck. So for me, the Joss Whedon cut never even really counted as a real movie. Like, watching it, you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? Right. Within the same scene, it goes from reshoots to regular. It was just a clusterfuck. It was horrible. So for me, watching the Zack Snyder cut, it is a significant improvement. Right. Definitely the fact that I've seen the Justice League makes me appreciate this film a lot more. So what I'll say, without getting into too much detail, is yes, it is still a Zack Snyder movie. So if you love Man of Steel and you love Batman versus Superman, you are gonna fucking love this. This is 4 hours of heaven for you. If you're like myself, who you like Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, but you find his DC movies to be overly self-serious and joyless.
If you enjoy good movies, I mean, that's what you want to say about yourself. You enjoy good film. ob- I don't think objectively it's a good film. That's the thing. It's an average film. Is it? Isn't it? I mean, that's the thing.
I don't. It's look. I've rarely seen 4 hour movies. Like I'll be real with you. I've seen the Lord of the Rings extended movies, which I think the Return of the King clocks in at almost 4 hours or something. I've seen like
Right.
The Irishman, which is like over 3 hours. I've seen Titanic, which is almost like 4 hours. So the amount of movies that I've seen that are 4 hours long, I can count on one hand. So I don't really know how to judge these films. All I can say is that it was better and it was way more cohesive than the theatrical cut. Because sure, it's 4 hours, and I don't even know what Zack Snyder was thinking when he was shooting it. Like, how are you ever going to release this in theaters? But giving it 4 hours and that extra room to breathe makes it feel less bloated and makes it feel like it makes more sense, because instead of trying to explain who Flash is, instead of trying to explain who Aquaman is, instead of trying to explain who Cyborg is in a 2 hour movie while introducing the Justice League, while introducing Steppenwolf as the villain, you now have 4 hours to do it. What it really shows is that you needed more movies to set up your Justice League. You needed a Man of Steel
Definitely.
2, you needed
Definitely.
a Batman solo movie, you needed a Flash movie, you needed an Aquaman movie. This is what happens when you try to shove all of this in one movie. You end up with a 4 hour monstrosity. Warner Brothers didn't know how the fuck to release it or what to do with it, so they decide to chop it up into a 2 hour movie. But
Right. It could have
given
been
what
a
we,
3-hour movie.
it
That's
could
all
have
I'm
been a
saying.
3 hour
I mean,
epic.
I'm gonna be the Steppenwolf advocate here, the devil's advocate, because I feel you don't want to, enrage all the DC fans out there. I'm
Well,
gonna I'm
no,
gonna take it. I'm gonna take it for you. Let's start with the dislikes, because then we leave the people with the likes. That's what I think is better. The dislikes is mainly one. I mean, inconsistency in character, and because to me, everything falls under the same problem, right?
mhm,
Like the fact that Lois Lane is not doing anything,
mhm.
right? She's just moping a victim, and her only job is to either she's such just an extension of Superman. It's almost bad. And I'm not here
Yeah,
to I'm not here to say women characters, because Wonder Woman's there and she's kicking ass and she's doing all sorts of great things,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Lois Lane is just a tool, and she's just there to make Superman feel something.
yeah,
At best, she is a tool at best. Batman is one of my favorite characters. A horrible characterization of Batman.
yeah.
He's just a big, like, a bad dad. He's walking around. He's like, okay, let's do
And we
this and
loved
let's
him.
do.
We loved Ben Affleck's Batman and Batman
Oh
versus
yeah,
Superman. He was the best part of BVS, but his character, like, he's not bat. He doesn't behave like Batman at any
no, no, no.
point in Justice League. At any point.
Batman is like, they keep calling him crazy. You can
Mhm.
see Aquaman tell him, like, you're insane. He doesn't act insane. He
Yeah.
acts very sane.
He's the
He acts.
most
Yeah.
logical and like sane person in this whole movie. Yeah, he's just literally putting the team together. He does no investigative work. He's constantly receiving information. He doesn't provide any new information to
Doesn't
anyone.
question anything at any
Yeah.
point. He's always like faith and faith. Like, I
Yeah.
understand you want to take him from being the psychopath that he is and take him into somebody who believes in something, but he starts off the movie believing, and
Yeah.
people are gonna say, yes, it's because Superman died in BVS. He's a changed man.
That was too
Take
quick.
He's never guilty. He doesn't feel shit. He's just going
Yeah.
around. Like, I noticed something today. I was watching a review that the movie starts him trying to recruit Aquaman for no reason, and then Wonder Woman comes in and tells him about Darkseid. So he was like recruiting the team for a whim, that he dreamed about the bad juju
Mhm.
that's happening, and then Wonder Woman comes and she's like, "Yo, this Darkseid dude is coming."
To be
And
fair, also because technically his conversation with Lex Luthor, like the bell's been rung, ding, 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 ding. I think that was also in addition to the dream.
yeah,
I think it was also at Lex. Again, it's pretty vague. I agree.
yeah, but who's the red capes? The
Yeah.
red capes are coming. Like, Batman keeps referencing the future, the dark future thing, the dream
Yeah.
he had with the Flash, and then Lex Luthor says the red capes are coming and all that
Hmm.
shit. By the way, Lex Luthor is no longer crazy. by by his stinger scene.
I think
Yeah,
like Arkham did him some good. The
yeah,
doctors in
Arkham.
Arkham worked their magic.
Yeah, why isn't it Arkham Asylum? It's Arkham House.
Yeah,
that's a weird change.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
Lex Luthor is no longer crazy. Before getting to Lex Luthor, Batman, horrible characterization, not doing much, no badass scene. Like he does some cool like
All he does is shoot stuff from like his car or from like his
yeah,
guns. Literally, all Batman did was shoot stuff with machine guns.
yeah,
That's
he's the
literally
Punisher. He's not
yeah.
Batman. Like the only tool he uses is his like little backlog
There
gun
was
thing,
one
but that's
scene
it.
where like he throws something at one of the parademons, and you and I literally like were like, "Fuck yeah, finally!" Like that one scene where he throws
That's
something
it.
at someone.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere else, everything else is just him and the
All
machine.
the other characters are kind of cool. I like the Flash. Wonder Woman is better than her own movies. Sometimes killing indiscriminately for no reason. Like she blows up a terrorist.
Like
Just Zack Snyder did that
that's the
for
thing.
no reason.
Like I have some things here. Like can like I was gonna mention one of my negatives is that everyone is brooding and everyone is too self-serious. But that's been my complaint since like Batman versus Superman. I've been
Right.
complaining about
Right.
this thing for so long. So it's the consistent Zack
Yeah.
Snyder tone. So I don't want to get bogged down into this right now.
Right.
But for
My
example,
biggest.
go for
Sorry.
it.
Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for
I
it.
mean, characterization is all over the place, but it's mainly Batman and Lois Lane. Superman is cool, but he's very like he has a very short span. Fucking loved Steppenwolf, Uncle Steppen. He was so funny because we kept imagining him as like a really shitty drunk uncle who's trying to get back into the family.
Steppenwolf was in my positives and my negatives. My positives is that we got so much more story from Steppenwolf. We know a little bit about his backstory, why he wants to get the mother boxes. He's trying to get back into Darkseid's good graces. Yeah. But what I don't like about Steppenwolf, he comes off as a total fucking bitch.
He gets his ass kicked
the whole
every
movie.
Scene.
And everyone talks down to him anytime Desaad or Darkseid even mention, like, where's Steppenwolf? Like, did the fool make another mistake? How am I supposed to be afraid of this guy if like he keeps getting shat on by Darkseid and Desaad the whole fucking movie? And Darkseid, he also came off as kind of a bitch. Like his introductory scene, he gets hacked to fucking shit by fucking Ares. Like if you're trying to establish Darkseid as this fucking badass, don't show him getting his, like, for example, we were talking about this in Infinity War when they introduced Thanos for the first time. Within 5 minutes of the movie, he beats Hulk's ass.
The strongest Avenger.
The
mightiest Avenger is beat to a pulp, and he escapes with his life in the most visceral one-on-one. Like no powers, he doesn't have the gauntlet.
Exactly.
Yet. He beats his ass.
That is how you introduce a fucking villain, not Darkseid, who gets a fucking axe to the neck and almost dies within the first 2 minutes of seeing the character. That was just a choice.
By like random, the Amazons were there, but it was like Ares and Zeus and some Vikings.
But that was a very cool action sequence, and that was very like Lord of the Rings, like fantasy sort of inspired. And in the theatrical cut, they literally just replaced the Darkseid character with like the Steppenwolf character.
No, let's not talk too much about the theatrical cut because I think we both agree it was the much worse movie.
It was horrible. It was garbage.
Yeah. So talking about I think my biggest issue, Anthony, is my biggest issue with this film, and I'm judging it as a film on its own, forgetting all the shit that happened. And I'm judging this as somebody who didn't know any of the things that happened, watching this movie from a fresh pair of eyes. It's bloated. I think we can easily cut an hour out of this, at least 30 minutes. There are scenes that do nothing, like mean nothing, and I can think about like the fight with the Amazons. The first time the Steppenwolf comes with the Amazons, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not a great scene. It's just extended and goes and goes.
When the Amazonians are shooting the arrow, like that takes 5 minutes. When Aquaman gets into the water and they're singing the music, like the song for 5 minutes.
That's like that's a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And so Firas was trying to watch it, Firas, he's a friend of ours, and he stopped it. He's like, I can't watch this. This is a long music video. And he's right. There's a bunch of like musical.
There's a lot. One of the scenes that I didn't like was the Flash scene when he saves Iris in slow motion. Like it looks cool visually. It's cool. The song choice was a little bit weird. There's too many slow songs.
Yeah,
and it was creepy. Like he's touching her face. He's caressing her. Like that was borderline.
There's wieners flying next to her face. I know.
Yeah.
I'm a 15-year-old for like,
No,
it's
I
weird.
hear it was a creepy scene. It was a creepy scene, and yeah, Zack Snyder does the whole slow song thing way too much. And in a 4-hour movie, he does it like 6 fucking times, so you feel it every time.
There's a full scene. I mean, we're gonna be spoilery here because
Yeah, of course.
obviously, there's a full scene where Martha Kent comes in and gives this pep talk to Lois Lane about we need you out there, Lois. We need you to do some shit, right? And Lois Lane is like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be back, you know. Then she comes out, and it turns out it's the Martian Manhunter.
That was
right?
the weirdest fucking way to introduce Martian.
First of all, Martian fucking Manhunter. I grew up on DC Comics. I don't know this motherfucker's name. Like he's one of the like. I get the Green Lanterns. You know they get a small scene. I get like put Easter eggs that matter, but Martian Manhunter. Anyway, a lot of DC fans are gonna say, "Oh, of course we know him. He's famous." Blah blah. Blah. Sure, I'm gonna take that and walk with it. Right. This whole scene culminates to nothing. Lois does nothing. She goes back out, gets some coffee, and goes back to the memorial. All she does is visit and mope to Superman's memorial. That is her only thing in the movie. Yeah. Why have that scene? Why have her get a pep talk from Martha Kent, who loses the farm because Batman forgot to fucking help her? Anyway,
it is definitely it's definitely useless. Even the Flash saving Iris scene, completely useless, adds nothing to the plot overall. But I guess at that point, once Zack got the green light to finish his cut, he's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna every single scene I'm just gonna fucking shove in that movie.
That's not a reshoot. That was in the original cut.
That was in the original cut.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what the plan was. Like when he was filming these 4 fucking hours, I don't know what he had in the back of his mind, like how they're gonna release these.
He does too much. Like the same way he had what's his name? The monster that kills Superman at the end of BVS. Doomsday. The same way he shoved in Doomsday.
Yeah.
We did not need Martian Manhunter. We did not need Iris for her. Like, she's going to... the girl, by the way, for people who don't know DC Comics, the girl Flash helps in slow motion. That's his, like, love interest for the whole series. Yeah. Why put her in there? Why not put the Flash... what's his name? Not the Flash.
She's coming back. She's coming back in Flashpoint, too.
Yeah, just put Shazam. His scenes with his dad, awesome. All the shit that lands. Cyborg, we did not need a whole like expensive ass scene to say that he can, play with the stock market to help an old lady. We did not need that.
That scene might have been excessive, but I got to tell you, like, Cyborg is in my positive. So let's switch to things we liked about the movie. I think Cyborg
let me before we switch to the positives, I want to highlight that I think the biggest problem with the movie as a whole is how dense it is. Because if you cut those scenes out, it's a very solid movie. Yeah. It goes, it stands the test of a good movie. It's just that there's a lot of padding. Yeah.
I agree. Like take off 30 minutes or even an hour from this, and it would have been like a legitimately good movie that has like good pacing. But I think the deal was, I think Zack Snyder refused to get paid to finish the Snyder Cut for full creative control. So he's not getting paid a dime to finish the Justice League, but his deal was, I want complete creative control. No one tells me what the fuck to do with this movie.
Yeah, so he just put everything.
He put everything. He was like, fuck. And I guess, look, if it is going to be his last movie, and he's probably never going to get the chance to do Justice League Part 2, I get why he's like, let me just fucking get these 4 hours out there for the fans, for me, for my daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the fans. Like this,
definitely. Yeah.
But things that we liked, positive. So Cyborg, dude. When I walked away from the theatrical cut, I did not give a fuck about Cyborg. Didn't dislike him. Just didn't care about him. I actively, legitimately care about him now. Like he was the heart of the movie. His story was like, I liked his character progression. How he was again brooding the whole time. And when you have Batman who's brooding and everyone's brooding, it was a bit much. But I legitimately understand the character. And now I understand why Ray Fisher was so upset and complaining so much on Twitter and all of that. Like, they did butcher his character. Now, I get it. Joss Whedon had to turn a 4-hour monstrosity into a 2-hour movie. So he cut out what I think he thought he had to cut out. But that character was done dirty. I also liked The Flash. Like, when I finished the theatrical cut, I disliked The Flash. I hated him. I thought he was incredibly annoying. Now, I'm very excited about a Flashpoint movie. And I really like the final action sequence where Flash has to turn back time. I thought that was great. And those two characters definitely benefit a lot from the extended 4 hours because they had no room to breathe in a 2 hour movie because you had to introduce both of them.
Right, I agree. I really liked Flash's, Speed Force things.
Yeah.
At the end when he saves the day but I wish he fought a bit more. I don't think he does a lot of fighting. He mainly does assist. Like he moves the sword here.
Yeah.
He does some things. But overall, he was great. Ezra Miller is great as the Flash. I really liked him. I loved his scenes with his dad. That was such a good
Yeah.
story to me. Wonder Woman was awesome. I mean, every time
the
she
one
moves.
thing, every time Wonder Woman appeared, they played that like sad lamenting music or whatever you call it. It's basically these women like, ah. I liked Wonder Woman. She was a badass, but that music made it seem like kind of depressing.
He has a problem with music. I mean, I know we're talking
Yeah.
about positives, but the first time Lois Lane visits Superman's
Yeah, the song. What was the song? The Grave.
the song Superman's Grave. The song goes like I'm not gonna sing it because I'm a grown ass man, but they said our gods would outlive us. But
Yeah.
they lied.
They lied.
What? And why? It's so literal. It's so basic and fucking literal. Like, khalas, he's not a god. He's just a superhero. Like
that. Zack Snyder's music choices are always on the nose. We talked about it, like Watchmen, Hallelujah playing when Night Owl fucks Suspect, like just weird song choices.
And it's this whole god comparison. Khalas, and nobody saw Superman as a god. He was just a cool villain. I mean superhero. He's just like he has this whole everybody's reaching out to him and God did not. And why did everybody love Superman after BVS?
I don't know. They hate the movie started with everyone hating him. He just died at the end, and I guess people liked him. That was never very clear.
Yeah. Right. So things we liked.
Things we liked. No fucking fake mustache lip. That was to me. That was my favorite part. Like it was so distracting. Literally, the opening scene of the theatrical cut was Superman showing up with the fake lips talking. The fact that that's gone, like every scene with Superman was automatically better. The finale, the final action sequence, I thought was significantly better than.
Right. It was a good scene.
Cut. Yeah, because they cut out any mention to Darkseid in the theatrical cut. They removed. So.
Do you think Darkseid added anything to the story?
No, he didn't. But the problem is Zack Snyder put him into the movie in a way where
he's the big bad for the second movie.
So I get why Joss had to cut those scenes out and reshoot some of them because at the end when there's the portal open and you see Darkseid open when they cut Steppenwolf's head.
Yeah.
You can't I don't know what they would you know what I mean? He had to change it around. He didn't add anything, and if anything, Darkseid being there makes Steppenwolf look like less of a threat because you're I know this guy's a little bitch because we're waiting for this.
The way they decapitate,
Steppy, Uncle Steppy.
Okay, another thing that was, I know we're cutting into likes and dislikes, but I'm remembering these things. Rated R, useless. I mean, honestly, Dark Knight was more visceral and violent than this.
Mm-hmm.
This was useless. There's two fucks. Cyborg says, I don't give a fuck about the world. And Batman says one fuck. That's it. There's two fucks. You're already allowed to do one fuck in a PG-13. And the violence is just cartoonish.
No, go for it. This is my thing. This is my problem with these acts. The idea of, but if you don't like it because you like the colorful, just the stupid jokes and the colorful. There's saying fuck doesn't make a movie dark. Saying fuck doesn't make a movie mature. You know what I mean? For example, The Dark Knight is way more mature and is a much darker movie than anything Zack Snyder has done. No one says fuck. The colors aren't all gray and slow-mo and brooding. It's not
super realistic and dark and there's all that shit, but it's PG-13.
Sometimes Snyder fans, my problem with the Snyder cult is that their allegiance, your allegiance should be with the characters. Your allegiance should be with Batman, with Superman, with the characters, because they're gonna outlive Zack Snyder and all of us by thousands of years. Superman, Batman, these characters have been written by thousands of writers and thousands of artists. Your allegiance, should not be to just Zack Snyder's vision. So that kind of bothers me. And they don't they confuse serious and like dark tones with dark color filters or Batman saying fuck. They think that makes something dark and brooding. I think
Dude,
that is completely immature.
to compare Marvel, Thanos wanted to commit genocide, right? He
Yeah.
was decapitated in the second movie. People died, people evaporated. The thing is, and it was, at the end, Thor decapitates Thanos. It wasn't at this an end game.
There's like some adult themes in the Marvel movies. Yeah, they're more colorful. But dude, again, like you have a dude dressed as a bat. Like this
Yeah,
stuff
like
is silly. This stuff is silly. This stuff was written for children. As much as you want to try to hold on to Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns from the late 1980s, at the end of the day, it's still a guy who's dressed as a bat. It's still another guy with a giant S on his fucking chest and a red cape.
It's superhero fantasy. That's what it is.
It's supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be silly. Like, and I get it. Okay, you're trying to portray them as gods, but you still need to make them relatable. And
right. And yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
no, like Zack Snyder's movies have rarely done that. Like Flash was a little bit relatable. Everyone else is like, what am I watching? Like there's very little emotion. I got goosebumps once. It's when Superman came back from like the dead and then he was floating in the sky doing the Jesus pose in the black suit. Just because of the music, I love the fucking score from Man of Steel. So with that music, those beautiful visuals of Superman fucking flying up in the sky, I got goosebumps. Other than that, the movie left me cold, but I still liked it overall. And I genuinely am happy for Zack because I'd rather see a 4-hour overlong, but cohesive vision from a visionary, from someone with a vision, than a patched up fucking Frankenstein of a movie that had to be approved by 30 executives at Warner Brothers.
It was Frankenstein. It wasn't. That's not how movies should be done. I mean, it goes into all these movies that were kind of patched up together, Fantastic Four, and all these like kind of shit show movies that with reshoots and shit. I mean, horrific. I think I'm happy it exists. Walking out of it, first I said I don't know why it exists, but then when I thought about it, I'm like, I'm happy this is the final note in the Zack Snyder Justice League. I mean, he went out with a good note.
Yeah.
Does it stand to? And again, guys, anybody wants to make me compare Marvel and DC. Marvel are the better movies because they took their time. It's not because they're inherently better characters. It's not because of they're colorful. It's just they took their fucking time and they made better movies. That's
Exactly.
And
like
the movies are better.
This movie did it. Like if they had given Man of Steel a sequel, if Batman had a solo movie, if Aquaman had his movie before, if Flash had his movie before, Zack would have had a whole movie to just focus on bringing the team together and establishing Steppenwolf as the main threat. And why is Steppenwolf a threat? Why are the mother boxes a threat? Whatever. Instead, he had to spend time introducing us to Cyborg, to Flash, to Aquaman. He had to do all the legwork that Marvel had already done.
Right.
So and we don't want to talk about that like too much because again, we've talked about this ad nauseum. But I'm glad we didn't review it right because Danny and I saw this like about 5-6 days ago. Like it's been almost a week.
Yeah. We were first day came out.
I'm glad we slept on it because it is a lot to process. It's a fucking 4-hour movie. Again, we haven't seen many of those before. It felt like binging a series. To me, it felt like 6 hours. We took very few breaks. We took very few breaks and we just fucking sat there. I'm definitely happy it exists. Like I can't complain. It's a 4-hour DC epic that feels like a Lord of the Rings movie sometimes. It's just if you're a fan of Snyder and if you're a fan of Man of Steel and BVS particularly, you're gonna be on fucking cloud 9 because it's 4 fucking hours of dark, brooding fucking superheroes. But it is funny. Like if you notice, the reviews are a lot more positive. This is the best review Zack Snyder DC movie. I don't want to be an asshole, but I think it is also because a lot of the critics are afraid of the Snyder cult and they're afraid to share their true feelings. Because you have critics who shat on BVS who are like, wow, what a great movie. Like, how did you go from hating the guy's vision to all of a sudden being blown the fuck away? You're just fucking afraid of internet trolls.
I think it's not. I don't think it should be judged as a movie per se, because if you forget all the shit, the movie's an average movie, honestly. I mean, the story is schmuck bait. I mean, you have schmuck bait is when you're like, you have these thriller scenes. Like, why do I want to watch a 10-minute or 15-minute scene with the Amazons while I know they're going to like lose? Because otherwise the story would stop. The story would stop if Steppenwolf doesn't get the first mother box. Why? Like, I'm a script writer. I'm a professional script writer. I have, a bunch of movies in my credit and series.
Shahid.
You wouldn't write a scene that long knowing the end of that scene. Like
Yeah.
the fight, and Amazons were dying that I never knew their name. Like I didn't like
Yeah. And he would
this
linger on
lady.
like,
Yeah.
and he would linger on the dead body as if we cared. Like, dude, yeah, we just met this lady. No, I hear you. I
And
hear you.
and yeah, and the queen never got her vengeance, the Amazonian queen. I mean, she's out of the movie. Why do we have such a long scene with her? So that's the recurrent problem with the movie. You know, Flash doing his old shtick. It's just Zack Snyder needs to know how to like lessen the fat, but otherwise, it's a nice movie. I didn't mind it. Can we talk at the end about that epilogue scene with the Joker?
Yes, let's do that, and then let's go into our final thoughts. We'll just
Right.
wrap it up, and then
So
the
there's
epilogue. Yes.
there's a famous scene. Besides that, there's a scene that they took. There's three scenes in the epilogue. There's Batman and Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
That's kind of fucking worthless.
Look, my thing with Martian Manhunter, you've been on Earth this whole fucking time. Zod showed up. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit back and chill. I'm not gonna do anything. Doomsday.
Steppenwolf.
Second one. You're like, I'm gonna sit back. Steppenwolf in the third one. Like just at the end, once everything is fucking solved, you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna help you humans from now on.
Yeah.
I'm the Martian Manhunter, by the way. Like, fuck you.
And Batman is like my Uncle Tony is like, hey, you want to go in for some breakfast? You want some fucking breakfast? Like Batman is some dude from Boston. You want some fucking breakfast, some coffee? You want some breakfast and coffee?
Yeah, he didn't look concerned at all. Like, didn't like,
dude.
Yeah.
Batman is a xenophobe psychopath. Like that's like he's afraid of like he's not some dude.
There's one little detail, something that we talked about and something that I even tweeted, but like the fact that you felt like Zach didn't even really get Batman in this movie. There was one scene that really bothered me with Aquaman. When Aquaman is about to walk into the ocean, he's drinking a bottle of whiskey, literally throws the bottle and smashes it into the ocean. Why is Aquaman littering the ocean? The whole plot of his movie is that humans are fucking up the oceans. And
he's a badass.
Yeah, like Zach is more concerned with making him look fucking cool, and it is a cool scene, and he looks like a badass. Granted, I'll give you that.
Aquaman keeps putting a shirt on every time. Okay, so
just to take it off. I think it's just to take it off again.
Every time Aquaman gets out of the ocean, he has a shirt on. But every time he goes down into the ocean, he takes it off. So I think he has like a little closet underwater that he gets like these umsan on that he goes. It's just shit like that. It makes me feel like Zach is like a 16-year-old edgelord, and he's
sometimes, man. I swear
he's like 50. I don't know how old he is. So speaking of that,
the boat part. With
there's the whole like fucking Deathstroke looking like a Halloween guy.
Yeah,
like he has the cheapest costume ever, and they do the whole like what's his name?
In the theatrical cut, it's basically Luthor being like, "It's time we create a league of our own." In this one, he reveals the identity of the Batman. He tells him it's Bruce Wayne, which was supposed to set up the Ben Affleck directed, Batman movie, which was then going to be directed by Matt Reeves, and then Ben Affleck left altogether. It's now going to be Robert Pattinson.
Right.
The final scene and the longest fucking scene.
Okay, this whole scene, everybody was hyped because they brought back, our favorite Joker.
We live in a society.
Our favorite Joker, the god of all, strong revolutionary young men out there, the Joker, right? The favorite character. So they bring back Jared Leto Joker. They tell him, cut that bullshit out. Be the normal Joker. Cut the whole like weird teeth and damaged and all that dumb shit. Be the Joker that we know from the comics. Watch some Joaquin Phoenix. Do him.
There was a little bit of Heath Ledger in there too, I gotta say.
He did his best Joker. And the scene is, it's set in the nightmare, whatever the fuck it is.
Probably the potential future where probably Justice League 2 would have taken place.
And what's funny about this scene, right? Being a filmmaker and being, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be very, assholey about the scene. They got the actors that are cheap. They got,
Mira.
They got Mira. They got that
Cyborg, who's like not
Cyborg,
working.
who's like down to do whatever,
Yeah.
And they're all like, they have guns.
And I think it was a CG Flash. Like if you look at his face, it doesn't even really look like Ezra Miller. It looked like
it's not Ezra
face
Miller
pasted on someone.
So they say that, they say that Wonder Woman died, Aquaman
Aquaman
died.
died. Yeah.
Mira says like just because it's Jason Momoa, it's too expensive for the scene. And then you have the Joker and Batman talking about how,
Eh,
Batman brought
eh.
along the Joker to
Ugh.
help him stop Superman and Darkseid. And I mean, come on. I don't want to get all like DC geek over this. What the fuck would the Joker do?
Dude,
Like,
it's like, why is Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad? Because like the Suicide Squad is meant to stop the Justice League. Like, what's she
yeah,
gonna do with her fucking bat? Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I really think it was just Zack wanting to have Joker and his Batman at least in one scene together, because I think he knows this is it. He just wanted a scene with them
yeah,
together. I think that's what it is. If
yeah.
I had to, it makes no sense.
It felt like a fan made, like fan service YouTube movie. And even Batman says fuck, like shut your fucking
Shut your
mouth.
fucking mouth. Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, Joker is still taunting him
You
about
just don't
killing
get it,
Robin.
Danny. You just like
Yeah.
colorful Marvel movies. You can't handle
And
Zack Snyder's
and
dark
Joker
DC.
is still taunting him about killing Robin. Like half the world is dead. Like
Yeah.
Batman should be over the death of Robin. Like Robin is fucking dead.
Why did you say that name?
That's it.
Don't
That's
mention
it.
Robin.
Oh, you better watch it. Ooh, I'm gonna be mad. And the Joker is like, he's really well designed. He has this like SWAT,
He's
with a
wearing all these
bunch of,
badges. Yeah, I guess all the cops that he killed or something.
like, and he's like, you need me to take down this evil, and then Superman arrives. But if you're, I mean, they should be all dead after that scene. That's it. He's gonna kill them. And
One of the problem is I hate Jared Leto. Like, I don't like Jared Leto as a person, as an actor. So to me, just him being the character, you're making me not want to like the new Joker. Like, I
wish
fucking
they
hate
brought.
Jared Leto.
Imagine they brought like Joaquin Phoenix as like.
That's the ultimate fuck you. That's the ultimate fuck you for Jared. Well, I mean, I think we've said everything. I'm trying to go through the notes quickly here.
No, we have. I mean, it's a fine. Yeah, we can final notes.
Final thoughts, Danny. Give us your final thoughts on Zack Snyder's 4-hour Justice League, exclusively streaming on HBO Max.
Right. It's okay. It's okay. I enjoyed it. It was a fun, schlocky, superhero movie. I think it does some things right. Overall, it's meh. Like I wouldn't put it up there to my favorite superhero movies. That's the problem, because I need to compare it with other superhero movies.
Yeah.
I mean, DC or Marvel. Not to say it's always a comparison. Like, it doesn't beat The Dark Knight. It does not beat,
Joss Whedon's Avengers, the original Avengers.
Right.
Again, like,
right.
everyone's been shitting on Joss Whedon. Like, this, as much as a lot of it was his fault, the guy was given an impossible task. Here's 4 hours of
no.
Should have said no.
Should have said no. Yeah.
Nothing to gain from, like, this gig has ruined the guy's reputation. But they gave him 4 hours of fucking footage from a very specific and visionary director. And they're like, trim this down to 2 hours. That is an impossible fucking task. I don't know why he agreed to do it. It was probably a lot of money that they offered him. Lose. Sorry I interrupted you. I just wanted to add that.
No, go ahead. I mean, it's like giving you the sequel of Owls of Ga'Hoole and telling you, you need to.
It was a very difficult task. It was a difficult task.
I was making a joke about Owls of Ga'Hoole, but yeah.
Legends of the Guardians.
Okay, it's an okay movie. It's fine. I enjoyed seeing these characters again. I did not like how they went out with the Justice League. I think it's a fine movie. I mean, now what's happening with Wonder Woman after Wonder Woman 84? I want DC to have a couple of wins. So it's a fine movie. Wouldn't put it up there. Considering it's like, it's like when I'm a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a student that's not doing great, when he does a bit better, you give him encouragement. That's what I feel it is. It's like Courage, good movie, good step in the right direction. Probably the last Justice League. There won't be sequels. Calm down. All the fans are like,
we might get into restore the Snyderverse, and we want Justice. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen because the fans pulled this off weirdly.
Yeah, but they're not gonna pay an extra like 200-300 mil.
No, I agree. And like, look, even like 99% of moviegoers didn't know what was happening behind the scenes with Justice League. So when Justice League came out in theaters, it would not have made more money if Zack Snyder was still the director. People had a bad taste in their mouth from Batman versus Superman, from Suicide Squad. So there's this revisionist history that's happening. Like, it would have made money. It wouldn't.
Right.
Like, it barely made. It didn't even make, I think, 700 million. It would have been the same case even with Zack Snyder. Believe me. because the fans had gotten enough. Now we've had the benefit of time, and people have had time to sort of really sour on the Justice League cut and really want to see his cut. What I would say, if you are a fan, again, like we've said many times, if you're a fan of BVS and Man of Steel, to you, this is going to be the greatest fucking comic book movie ever made. Like, if you love Batman versus Superman, you're losing your shit over this. For me, as someone who was okay with Man of Steel and who was disappointed and who did not like BVS, this is a good movie. It's a long superhero epic. It's, again, because I'm not a huge fan of the tone and the direction that Zack Snyder chose, there's a limit to how much I can like this, but I like this as much as I can. You know, given it's 4 hours, it has some cool scenes with Superman, some cool scenes with Flash, with Cyborg. It's a fun 4-hour superhero epic that I think I'll be down to watch once every few years, like once every 3 years, maybe. Like, hey, let's pop in the 4-hour Justice League.
No,
I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it once. Like,
this is not Return of the King.
It's not like, yeah, it's not very rewatchable. Like, it's very heavy, it's very dour, it's very self-serious, but it is well made.
Like, there's 2 good moments in the story. The rest is like Steppenwolf trying to get, like, remember Steppenwolf and him torturing some random Atlanteans?
When the what the fuck are they called? The parademons just like grab people and push them around, like.
Look, the parademons are straight out of fucking Power Rangers. They're shit out of Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers.
But yeah, anyway, we're happy for Zack Snyder. We're happy for the Snyder fans. We're happy we got to see it. Look, it's fucking 4 hours of DC epicness. It was tiring, but yeah, I don't regret seeing it.
We're home in a pandemic, and me and Anthony got to have fun and hang out for 4 hours. So it was fun. I wouldn't. And we got to see it on your projector, so we got as close to seeing it on a big screen as we ever were gonna. We saw it on the big ass fucking screen, so that was cool. Okay, final question. Right.
Given the choice, would you be down to see Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2? So the future nightmare scene that we saw, would you want to see Zack Snyder's 3-hour Justice League Part 2 with Darkseid?
I would. I mean, I love these characters. I like this whole nightmare scenario. I would like him to do things more often. It was fun. I am a fan of Zack Snyder. I used to be, at least. I don't know. I would watch the second one.
Me too.
It's more than I would watch. I mean, I did not watch the Harley Quinn movie. I did not watch. Shazam was okay for me. So
I loved Shazam.
Yeah, it was fun, but I mean, I did not watch Wonder Woman 84. That's what it's called, 84.
Yeah.
So I would watch this. Although I did not watch those, I would watch Justice League 2, honestly.
It's weird. You see, like, we complain about Zack Snyder's movies, but part of me wants to like them. There's a lot about them that I do like, and
gravitas. He has gravitas all over,
They're a bit shallow, but yeah, on the surface they look and feel very important. But when you just scratch a little bit, there's nothing underneath there. But they look and feel very important. Are they? They're not. But he's been able to create that image, kind of.
They told us that God would outlive us. They lied. This God that yes.
It's been a pleasure. Sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's good. Whenever you want me, I'm here hanging out in my serial killer cave. Hit me up.
This was a great conversation. Well, Danny, I just reviewed episode 1 of Falcon and Winter Soldier solo. Would you be interested? And perhaps if the viewers like this, and if we can make it work, would you be interested in breaking down Falcon and Winter Soldier weekly with your boy Anthony?
Oh yeah, man. I'm currently in my boxer, so you caught me.
All right.
So
well,
I'm free.
Guys, let Danny know. Thank Danny for being here. Please, in the comments, be nice. And if you guys are huge Snyder Cut fans, I hope you waited and I know this is a long video, but listen to us. We know what we're talking about. Give us a chance. We're not hating.
It's not as long. I mean, it's as long as the Snyder Cut.
It's not as long as the Snyder Cut. So
yeah. Guys, thank you, Anthony, for having me.
Danny, thanks for being here. Guys, please take a second to like this video. Leave a comment. Let us know if you agree with us. If you disagree, what did you think of the Snyder Cut? Did you prefer it over the Joss Whedon cut? Do you prefer the Joss Whedon cut for some strange reason? Subscribe to the channel. Become a Do Not Warrior. I am on the path to 2,000 subscribers. We're getting pretty close, like 130, 140 subs left to go. Subscribe to the channel. And as usual, folks, do not worry.
Peace.
Do not worry.